Chapter 824. The Temple of the Gods. The flaming three-tailed fox king was released, and he roared aggrievedly. Yun Chujio took out a pendant from her storage ring and waved it in front of the silver-masked emissary. Hypnotism was originally not very effective on cultivators with strong spiritual sense, but the silver-masked emissary was seriously injured and in a panic. Coupled with the seductive voice of the flaming three-tailed fox king, the silver-masked emissary's eyes gradually drifted up. "What's your name?" "Rin Lizzie." "What's the name of your faction?" "The Godly Devil Hall." Yun Chujio frowned. "The Godly Devil Hall? What a strange name. Was it God or a devil? Who is your superior? How does he contact you?" "I don't know who he is either. Every time we meet he always wears a golden mask. We can contact him with a voice transmission talisman." "How many more silver-masked subordinates does he have like you?" "About a few dozen. I'm not too sure either. It's just that I've seen other silver-masked men when I entered the organization and swore fealty to my lord." "Where did you swear fealty to?" "I was drugged when I got on the flying spirit tool, and I was also drugged when I came back, so I don't know where exactly I went. It took me nearly 2 months to travel back and forth." Yun Chujio frowned. This red spider lily forces were rather cautious in their actions, to actually be on guard against even the silver-masked emissary. It was really mysterious. Yun Chujio continued to ask, "Who is the master you swore allegiance to? What does he look like?" "The master is a god, the god of all of us. He is the one and only god in the world." The corners of Yun Chujio's eyes twitched violently. This silver-masked emissary was clearly brainwashed. That so-called master was really shameless. He was actually more narcissistic than her. Seeing that the silver-masked emissary was still praising the master with infatuation, Yun Chujio could only interrupt him. "What is the mission that the boss has given you?" "Find the map and urge Tianxing Trading Company to gather talents and quickly rise up." Only then did the silver-masked emissary end his praise of the master. "Where are the rest of the silver-masked men distributed? What missions do they have?" "I don't know." "How often does the golden-masked man meet you?" "Sometimes a year and sometimes 2 years. I'm not sure. If I run out of pills, he'll send them to me." "What's the cultivation level of the golden-masked man?" "I'm not sure. He should be at the 7th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. He's very powerful." 7th level of the Spirit Emperor realm? Yun Chujio originally planned to have the silver-masked emissary invite that golden-masked man to the Yongxing Trading Company. It seemed like her plan was going to be cancelled. The 7th level of the Spirit Emperor realm was no joke. It would be considered one of the best cultivation bases in the Azure Mystic Continent. Her cultivation base was not enough to defeat the man. Even if she were to go against him, she would not be able to defeat him. On top of that, she would inadvertently alert her enemy. "What else do you know about the organization? Tell me everything." The silver-masked emissary rambled on, and Yun Chujio was very disappointed. Everything he said was basically what she knew, and it was of no value. "However," the man continued, "when Lord Goldface gave me the map and the jade token, he told me that I could have killed half of the cultivators in Azure Mystic Continent with the help of the ancient sword tomb, but out of nowhere, a stinky girl named Yun Chujio appeared. Because of her, all the cultivators escaped, but that stinky girl was trapped in the ancient sword tomb. She really deserved it." Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. The ancient sword tomb was indeed the handiwork of the red spider lily forces. However, how did they manage to control the ancient sword tomb's array formation? Could it be that they had found the core of the ancient sword tomb's array formation? Moreover, they knew of the ancient array formation. Chapter 825. Blind her titanium snobbish eyes. The man continued, "But it doesn't matter. Lord Goldface said that there will soon be a good opportunity to weaken the powers of the various factions in the Azure Mystic Continent. When that time comes, it will be our chance to move from behind the scenes to the front. When that time comes, we will find the eye of the earth. Our master will bring us to become gods and leave this lowly realm." "What opportunity?" Lord Goldface did not say, but Lord Goldface said that it will be here soon. Yun Chujio was shocked. It seemed that she had to tell Master Xianyuan and the others this news as soon as possible. Otherwise, if what the silver-masked emissary said was true, something big would definitely happen to the Azure Mystic Continent. Seeing that she could not get any other useful information, Yun Chujio took out a blood coagulation pill and 2 sleeping pills and stuffed them into the man's mouth. Yun Chujio took out 2 more voice transmission talismans and briefly told Di Biming about the information she had obtained from the silver-masked emissary. She asked him to think of a way to pass the information to Master Xianyuan. A moment later, the voice transmission talisman began to tremble. Little Gio, I've already told my subordinates to inform Master Xianyuan of the news. Don't stay in Wanghai City anymore, just in case the golden-masked man takes revenge on you. Return to Spirit Radiance Sect today and we will meet halfway. After Yun Chujio replied to Di Biming, she then withdrew the isolation array. Young hero, the people in front have been subdued. Now, the Yongxing Trading Company is under our control. Yu Hai and his men had already ended the battle. Yun Chujio nodded. There might be some things that you guys don't know. In short, the power behind this silver-masked emissary is very large. If you guys are afraid of taking revenge, split the assets of the Yongxing Trading Company and then think of your own ways out. Everyone immediately began to discuss. However, from their point of view, as long as there were spirit stones, it would be fine. It would be the same no matter where they went. At most, they could just had to plan further ahead. Yun Chujio continued, the matter of the distribution of assets will be handled by Yu Hai. You guys finish discussing as soon as possible and divide it before dawn tomorrow. I'll leave after you guys are done dividing it. Everyone agreed and quickly got busy. It was easy to talk about spirit stones, but it would be troublesome to divide some physical objects. Fortunately, Yu Hai was a straightforward person and did not care too much about it. He cut the Gordian knot and dealt with all the assets before dawn. Seeing that the assets had been divided, Yun Chujio planned to leave Wanghai City. Unexpectedly, Yu Hai and a dozen others knelt on the ground and said, Young hero, we are willing to follow you in the future. Please accept us. Yu Hai and those people had already discussed in private that if they found a place to live in seclusion, they would end up like this for the rest of their lives. Although their spiritual power was not bad, there was no hope for them to ascend. Moreover, it was really cowardly to live like this for the rest of their lives. Although this Shiling was not old, he hid his abilities well and was also a righteous person. Back in the Endless Sea, he could have simply left without caring about them. However, he had saved their lives. After he killed the owner of the Yongxing Trading Company, he could also completely leave without caring about whether or not they would suffer revenge. However, he had considered things very carefully for them. If they were to join him, he would definitely not mistreat them. Moreover, he would lead them to do something great. Yun Chujio did not expect Yu Hai and the others to do such a thing. She touched her nose and said, Everyone, thank you for your kindness. However, I will be going forth alone now. I'm afraid that I will only hamper your future. Young hero, if you had not saved us, would we be able to even talk about our future? Please accept us and let us do our best for you. Yun Chujio saw the sincerity in everyone's words and could only nod. All right, since that's the case, then you guys can leave with me. This fellow secretly thought that it was not bad to accept them. In the future, she would also create a sect or something. That old witch had always despised her family background. When that time came, she would definitely blind her titanium snobbery. Chapter 826. Thunder Sect. In order to express their sincerity, Yu Hai and the others all swore an oath of loyalty to Yun Chujio. Although Yun Chujio said that she did not need it, she did not actually do anything to stop them. It was good that they swore an oath, at least she could be at ease. After the matter was almost settled, Yun Chujio got everyone to board their flying spirit tools and set off to return to the Spirit Radiance Sect. This fellow leaned back on the recliner and secretly thought, it's good to have subordinates. Someone's piloting the flying spirit tool, and someone else is in charge of guarding it. I'm just in charge of reading a book. How satisfying. This fellow rubbed her chin. She had to give her future faction a good name that was unbridled, cool, and overbearing. What name would be good? The Gigolo's name was the Hall of Longevity, The black-headed chicken was the demon blood sect, and the spider lily forces were called the godly devil hall. There were also the spirit radiance sect, skyblade sect, heavenly gates sect, and Bixiao palace. She had to give them a good name that was different from theirs. The little Geo sect? It did not sound good. The heavenly thunder sect? It did not sound good either. Got it. Her sect was called the thunder sect. Ha! This name was great. The thunder sect. The thunder ancestor. Damn that old bastard heavenly lightning. I told you to always strike me with lightning, so I'll be your superior from now on. Little Black and the other two looked at each other. The thunder sect? Damn it, only their black-hearted master could come up with such a name. When Yu Hai and the others heard Yun Chujia's demonic laughter, they could not help but shiver. What bad ideas did their master hatch this time? Why did this laughter sound so scary? Yu Hai, come here for a moment, I have something to tell you. Master, you called me? Yu Hai felt uneasy in his heart. Why did the little devil summon me? Don't call me master in the future. Call me sect master, understand? From now on, our faction will be called the Thunder Sect. Wait until I find an auspicious land, then our Thunder Sect will officially open for business. Yu Hai was confused when he heard this. Thunder Sect? Although it was not very unique, it made sense. However, what did this open for business mean? Sect master, what does this open for business mean? Of course it means to make money. Otherwise, how are we going to develop our sect? We have to base ourselves on business. With money, we can attract more cultivators. With money, we can buy spiritual weapons. With money, we can develop and grow. In short, we have to make money first. Sect master, then what business do we do? Of course, money has to come quickly. Medicinal pills. We have to open a medicine shop first. Sect master, this medicine shop may be a good business idea, but we have to have a full-time alchemist. Without someone making the medicinal pills, this business will not be easy to do, Yu Hai said with a frown. What alchemist do you need? Alone, am enough. Yun Chujio raised her neck and said smugly. The corner of Yu Hai's eyes twitched. Was their master talking nonsense? What did he mean by it's enough to have him? Can the medicinal pills refined by you be sold in even a single shop? That's right. Our medicine shop needs to take the high-end route. We only sell high-grade and superior-grade medicinal pills. We don't sell ordinary medicinal pills. We must be high-end and high-class. We must scam the money of those fools. Do you understand? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and said. The corner of Yu Hai's eyes twitched again. Why did he feel that they were going to set up an illicit shop? Forget it. They were pirates after all, so it would be easy for them to set up such a shop. Moreover, high-grade elixirs could be bought at a high price. These super-grade elixirs could only be found by chance, not by request. Where could they get them? Yun Chujio saw the suspicious look on Yu Hai's face and did not explain. When the time came, he would naturally find out if this sect master was just speaking nonsense or not. Forget it. You will understand in the future. First, pass on the spirit of our conversation to them. Yun Chujio leaned back on the recliner, picked up the book, and started reading. Yu Hai nodded. Just as he was about to leave, he glanced at the cover of the book in Yun Chujio's hand and fell on his butt. Chapter 827. Our sect master is a good man, my 81 male pets? Oh my God. I didn't expect it. Our sect master is actually a queer man. Yu Hai inexplicably felt a little cold. Could this be considered as a sheep entering the tiger's mouth? They were all serious men. They were male and liked women. They did not like this type of thing. The sect master had so many bad ideas. He would not rape them in the future, would he? Fuck. What thunder sect? Would they not become a harmonious and happy sect in the future? Yu Hai trembled as he glanced at the stack of books on the table next to him. Handsome husbands sitting in a row. My 3,000 beautiful male harem, all the beautiful husbands. Yu Hai was 100% sure that his sect master liked men. When Yun Chujio saw that Yu Hai had fallen for no reason, she smiled and said, Yu Hai, what's wrong? Is this matter so difficult to accept? Take your time to digest it. You will understand. Yu Hai answered vaguely. He got up and ran back to the cockpit. He thought to himself, take your time to digest it? Even if he was given 500 years, he would not be able to accept it. He was straight. Yun Chujio frowned slightly. Was it not just opening a medicine shop? Was there a need to be so excited? He was probably too excited after hearing her plan. His mental endurance was too poor. Yes, that must be the case. Yu Hai returned to the cockpit with a pale face. The rest of the people asked in confusion, Boss, what happened to you? What did the master say to you? No, nothing much. Master said that from now on, our faction will be called Thunder Sect. From now on, we will call him Sect Master. We will start with a medicine shop business first, Yu Hai said absent-mindedly. Thunder Sect? Why does this name sound strange? What's so strange about it? Isn't our sect master a heavenly thunder root spirit? It's just right for our sect to be called Thunder Sect. What you said makes sense. But is it reliable to open a medicine shop? Doesn't a medicine shop have to have a regular alchemist working together? Alchemists are all very arrogant. Where can we contact an alchemist? That's right, boss. What did the sect master say? Yu Hai was stunned for a moment and said absent-mindedly, Sect master said that he can handle it by himself. What? Sect master said that he can handle it by himself? Could it be that the sect master is an alchemist? Even if the sect master is an alchemist, it's not enough. It's impossible for a person to run a medicine shop. Boss, don't you think so? Boss? What's wrong with you? Why are you so distracted? Did the sect master say something else? Yu Hai gritted his teeth and said in a low voice, Brothers, I've discovered something incredible. You must resist it. Boss, what's the matter? Those few people were so scared that their hearts trembled. Boss had always been a tough man who did not change his expression even under tremendous pressure. What on earth had scared him to this extent? Sect master, he's so manly. Yu Hai squeezed out a few words from between his teeth. What? Everyone instantly exploded. With a delicate and pretty face instantly crossed his hands and covered his chest. No, it can't be. I'm the most handsome among us. Sect master won't let me serve him in bed, right? Tui, are you shameless? How do you know that sect master likes someone like you? Perhaps the sect master likes someone like our leader who is strong and powerful. Don't you see that sect master always looks for our leader to discuss everything? It's obvious that he has a good impression of our leader. Yu Hai's face turned even paler. If the sect master really wanted him to obey him, what should he do? Back then, he had made a poison vow. No matter what the sect master said, he had to do it. Otherwise, his soul would disintegrate. Yu Hai's heart was on the verge of collapse. Oh God, who could save him? Chapter 828. I am actually very gentle in the next few days. Yun Chujio realized that every time she called Yu Hai in, he would find all sorts of excuses to avoid it. Moreover, when he did go in, he looked like he was in a daze and even trembled slightly. Yu Hai, don't be afraid. I'm actually very gentle. I will definitely treat all of you well. Could it be that my aura was too strong so they were all afraid? Yun Chujio thought secretly. Yu Hai glanced at the cover of the book that Yun Chujio held in her hand and trembled even more. Sect master? If there's nothing else, I will take my leave. Yun Chujio waved her hand and wondered in her heart. Yu Hai was very charismatic in the past, but why did he become so timid? Is my aura really that strong? This fellow shook her head and picked up the script that was placed at the side to read. On the cover, it was shockingly written, 108 husbands who were plundered by force. Yu Hai staggered back and collapsed on the chair. It was over. Was the sect master going to use force on him? Boss, what happened to you? Boss, could it be that the sect master has made it clear to you about it? What did you say? Boss, although the sect master has saved our lives, a man has things he can and can't do. You should resist no matter what. Yu Hai had a look of despair on his face. It was the first time in his many years of life that he had encountered such a troublesome problem. He did not want to disobey the sect master's orders, But he also did not want to lose his chastity. Oh God, quickly save him. Boss, something's wrong. Those two flying spirit tools have been following us. Could they be coming for us? The handsome young man shouted loudly. Yu Hai jumped up from his chair and ran to the observation window to take a look. As expected, there were two flying spirit tools following closely behind. Could they be passing by? Slow down and see if they overtake us, Yu Hai said with a frown. Unexpectedly, when they slowed down, the two flying spirit tools behind them also slowed down. They increased their speed, and the ones behind them also increased their speed. Yu Hai knew that he had run into trouble, so he could not care less about that mess now. He quickly went into the inner room and said, "Sect Master, there are two flying spirit tools following us from behind." Yun Chujio was stunned and quickly went to the observation window to check. The two flying spirit tools at the back did not have any signs or flags on it, and were about the same size as Yun Chujio's flying spirit tool. They followed closely behind them. "Sect Master, I've tried to slow down or speed up. They've been following closely behind us. They must be coming for us," Yu Hai said from the side. Yun Chujio frowned. "I'm afraid they're just following us and are probably waiting for reinforcements. Let's speed up and try to get rid of them. If their reinforcements arrive, we'll be in trouble." Yun Chujio decided to fly the flying spirit tool herself. Although the two flying spirit tools behind her also increased their speed, they were still a distance behind. Just as Yun Chujio was about to heave a sigh of relief, she did not expect that two more flying spirit tools would appear in front of her. One of them actually crashed into Yun Chujio's flying spirit tool. Yu Hai and the others cried out in shock. Yun Chujio suddenly lowered the flying spirit tool and dodged the impending collision, steering it under the other flying spirit tool. Not long after she flew out, another two flying spirit tools appeared in front of her. Their purpose was very clear: to block the way of Yun Chujio and the others. Yun Chujio tried to rush over several times but failed. At that moment, the four flying spirit tools behind her also caught up. They surrounded Yun Chujio's flying spirit tool in the middle. Chapter 829. Illusionary Electric Eel. After the six flying spirit tools surrounded Yun Chujio's flying spirit tools in the middle, they began to attack with their spirit energy through the porthole. Although the flying spirit tools had a certain degree of defensive ability, they would not be able to last for long. Yun Chujio saw the reflected shadows from the porthole. Those people were wearing silver masks just like Ren Lizzie. She was shocked. They were people from the Godly Devil Hall. They were very well informed. "Yu Hai, pass me the topographic map of this area." After Yun Chujio took the topographic map, she found that there was a big lake below. She rolled her eyes. She had an idea. "Fly down. Well, jump into the lake." Yun Chujio said resolutely. "Our combat strength in the water is much stronger than on land. Only in this way can we fight for a slim chance of survival." Yun Chujio's flying spirit tool rapidly descended. Yun Chujio looked at Ren Lizzie, who had been in a coma the whole time. She had planned to bring him back to continue the interrogation, but now it seemed that she could only kill him. Yun Chujio raised her sword and swung it down. Ren Lizzie died in his sleep. After the flying spirit tool descended to a few feet above the lake, everyone jumped into the lake one after another. The flying spirit tool was also put away by Yun Chujio. The people in the six flying spirit tools were flustered and exasperated as they used the porthole to attack Yun Chujio and the others with their spirit power. Unfortunately, Yun Chujio and the others had dived into the water, so their attacks basically had no effect. "Lord Fan Zhen, they've jumped into the lake, what should we do?" In one of the flying spirit tools, there were 7 or 8 men wearing silver masks, and in the middle of them stood a man wearing a golden mask. He sneered, "This Shirling is smart, but he can't escape from me. Let's jump down too." "Sir, we don't know how to swim." "No problem. We can just watch from the boat," Goldface sneered. Those silver-masked men looked at each other. "Watch the show?" "Watch what show? Those people seem to be good at swimming. We, the landlubbers, can't do anything to them." Fan Zhen, who was Goldface, led those silver-masked men and jumped into the water. He took out a big boat from his storage ring, and everyone got on the boat. Fanjin waved his hand, and a huge monster appeared in the lake. Those silver-masked men cried out in surprise. Oh God, it was a Tier 13 illusionary electric eel. Those people were dead for sure. Not to mention that the illusionary electric eel was of a high level. More importantly, it could emit electric currents. It was simply an invincible existence in the water. Fanjin said to the illusionary electric eel, "Go. Electrocute those people to death, but leave the bodies for me. Once I find the thing I need, they're all yours." The illusionary electric eel nodded its huge head and dived into the water. The silver-masked men flattered, "Sir, is this illusionary electric eel your spiritual pet?" Fanjin nodded arrogantly, "This is just one of the spiritual pets given to me by the Lord. As long as you work hard for the Lord, you will have such spiritual pets in the future." The silver-masked men were ecstatic. "Sir, really? That's great. The illusionary electric eel is a Tier 13 demon beast, equivalent to the 7th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. I think this one of yours might even be equivalent to the 8th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. Those people will be dead in less than 15 minutes. Exactly. They think that they can escape by jumping into the water. They're too naive. The illusionary electric eel is the overlord of the water. It only needs a few electric currents to electrocute them to death. No wonder Sir said that we only need to watch the show from the boat. With the illusionary electric eel, not to mention a dozen of them, even 100 people would not be a match. Chapter 830. You are a disgrace to the world of sea creatures. My lord, you said that the map really fell into the hands of that Shirling? My lord, how did you know that something had happened to Ren Lizzie? I happened to pass by Wanghai City and heard everyone discussing that something had happened to the Yongxing Trading Company. For the sake of caution, I didn't contact Ren Lizzie. Instead, I captured a few guards from Yongxing Trading Company. After asking, I found out that Ren Lizzie and the original owner had been captured by a person called Shirling Humph. He actually dared to provoke people from our godly devil hall. This Shirling must die. Sir, you're really observant. With your illusionary electric eel, this Shirling won't be able to escape even if he has wings. That's right. He really has the guts to go against us. There's only one outcome for him, and that's death. The illusionary electric eel is starting to swim in that direction. Shirling and the others must be nearby. It won't be long before their bodies float up. After Yun Chujio and the others dove into the water, they heard the sound of people diving into the water. They knew that those people had also jumped into the water. Just as they were about to show off their skills, they saw those people climb onto a big boat. Yun Chujio was ready to take you high and the others away from this area of water. Unexpectedly, the water ahead suddenly churned and a huge monster quickly swam toward them. Its body flickered with a 5-colored light, and its 2 big whiskers were more than 3 feet long. An illusionary electric eel? Yun Chujio had read about this illusionary electric eel in the Sea Creature Journal before. The most powerful thing about this illusionary electric eel was that it could emit electric currents. Although many sea creatures had strong bodies, they were also afraid of the illusionary electric eel's electric currents. Therefore, even sea creatures of the same level were not willing to provoke the illusionary electric eel. Yun Chujio gestured to Yu Hai and the others, indicating for them to move further away. She would take care of the illusionary electric eel. Yu Hai and the others originally did not want to leave, but Yun Chujio glared at them. They could only swim further away for the time being. They would be on standby as they witnessed the situation. If Yun Chujio was no match for them, they would come forward to help. Hey, little Loach, I think you've lived for quite a long time, right? If you don't want to die, hurry up and get back. Otherwise, it'll make you into a braised eel. Yun Chujio recalled the braised eel that Di Baiming had once brought to her. The meat was tender and springy, and it was very delicious. This fellow shamelessly wiped her saliva. The illusionary electric eel was a little dumbfounded. Is there something wrong with this little human weakling's brain? A 5th-level spirit cultivator dares to talk to me like that? It's just you, and you dare to want to eat me? Wait until Master is done searching for the things, Then you'll be my snack. Moreover, I'm an illusionary electric eel, not a little loach. Yu Hai and the others behind him also had stiff expressions. Sect Master, what situation are we in? Are you still thinking of eating? This is a Tier 13 illusionary electric eel. Although you're quite powerful, that is electric current. With your small body, just a beam of electric current is enough to electrocute you to death. Little Loach, I heard that these 2 whiskers of yours are very tough. Quickly bite them off and give them to me. I will use them as swings, Yun Chujio said with a smile. The illusionary electric eel was so angry that its 2 whiskers fiercely lashed at Yun Chujio. Damn it! How dare you talk about my whiskers? I'll beat you to death. Please, if you don't want to give them to me, then don't. Is there a need to beat me like this? How stingy! You said that you're a dignified Tier 13 sea creature, but you acknowledged a bastard as your master. I'm embarrassed for you. If I were you, I would have strangled myself to death with my whiskers. Your life is a disgrace to the world of sea creatures. Chapter 831. Little weakling, you're dead meat. The illusionary electric eel was so angry that it kept whipping at Yun Chujio. It even forgot to use its electric current and just kept whipping Yun Chujio with its 2 big whiskers. Unfortunately, Yun Chujio was like a nimble little fish that could not be caught at all. Yu Hai and the others were all dumbfounded. Our sect master is the most amazing person of our generation. In front of a Tier 13 sea creature, he was actually able to criticize with such finesse. This eloquence and courage was really admirable. However, could this illusionary electric eel be a disabled fish? Why did it only care about using its whiskers? Didn't it know how to use electricity? They would not know that the illusionary electric eel was so angry that it was going to faint. It just wanted to whip this human to death. On the ship, the people from the godly demon hall could only see the water in the distance constantly churning. Obviously, there was a fierce battle going on below, but why could they not see the traces of electricity? Even if the illusionary electric eel was attacking underwater, the electric current it was emitting was very strong and should be able to be seen on the surface of the water. Some people said, the illusionary electric eel probably thinks that those people are too weak. It hasn't exercised its muscles and bones for a long time, so it wants to make fun of them. Well, what you said makes sense. It's like a cat playing with a mouse. Of course, it will only eat after it has played with them enough. At that moment, the illusionary electric eel finally remembered its innate ability. It cursed in its heart. I'm so mad at this weak human. Why did I only use my whiskers? I'll use an electric current to electrocute him to death. When the illusionary electric eel thought of this, it stopped moving on the spot. Then, it passed an electric current at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio thought to herself, lightning is essentially an electric current. Even the heavenly lightning can't kill me. You little loach want to electrocute me? Not only did Yun Chujio not dodge, but she swam toward the electric current. Yu Hai and the others were so scared that they almost fainted. Has the sect master gone mad? Aren't you just courting death? It's over. It's over. Our Thunder sect was only established for a few days and was about to be disbanded. The illusionary electric eel's eyes revealed a look of disdain. This human little weakling is actually stupid. No wonder he dared to scold me. If I had known earlier, I would have directly fired the electric current. At that time, Yun Chujio had already swam to the front of the electric current. That beam of electric current did not falter one bit and hit Yun Chujio. Yu Hai and the others closed their eyes. It's over. Our sect master is dead for sure. The illusionary electric eel stared proudly. Little weakling, you're dead for sure. Wait, this is impossible. I must be seeing things. Why is that little weakling completely fine? That's impossible. That electric current must gone off course and missed him. I'll shoot another beam. This time, it'll definitely hit him. The illusionary electric eel shot another beam of electric current at Yun Chujio. Then, it watched helplessly as that little human weakling was still completely fine. Moreover, he seemed to be even more energetic than before. The illusionary electric eel could not comprehend. How is this possible? Even if I encountered sea creatures of the same level as me, although a beam of electric current would not kill them, it would still numb them for a while. Why is this little human completely fine? Yuhai and the others widened their eyes and were dumbstruck. Fuck, our sect master is simply not human. He's completely fine even after being struck by the electric current from the illusionary electric eel. This is too unbelievable. The illusionary electric eel still could not believe that there was someone who was not afraid of electric current. It kept shooting electric currents at Yunchujio. Yunchujio leisurely allowed the electric current to hit her body. The electric current added together was not as powerful as a heavenly thunder. Was this not too weak? Chapter 832. The fish was in bad shape. Whether it was the illusionary electric eel or Yuhai and the others, they all had a feeling that something was wrong. Were they ignorant, or was this young man not human at all? There were so many electric currents that even a person at the peak of the 9th level of the Spirit Emperor realm would not be fine. How could he be fine? Yunchujio raised the corner of her mouth at the illusionary electric eel. Little Loach, it's my turn now, right? Little Geo Thunderbolt. As Yunchujio spoke, she shot a few small purple lightning bolts at the illusionary electric eel. The small lightning bolts slowly moved toward the illusionary electric eel. When the illusionary electric eel saw that Yunchujio could shoot out purple lightning bolts, it was shocked. It thought to itself, is it because he has the heavenly thunder root spirit that he isn't afraid of my electric currents? Although my electric current won't cause any harm to you, your lightning is simply too weak. Not only is it thin, but its speed is also so slow. It can't cause any harm to me at all. The illusionary electric eel had the intention to get back at them, so it did not dodge at all. Instead, it stretched out its 2 long whiskers and lashed them at the small lightning. The small lightning did not dodge at all. It looked as if it was going to let them whip it as they pleased. The 2 long whiskers lashed out directly. Then Yuhai and the others saw the illusionary electric eel continuously rolling in the water, and the 2 long whiskers were actually broken in half. Originally, Yunchujio's purple lightning bolts alone were not that powerful. However, they could not withstand the illusionary electric eel's courting death. When it used its whiskers to hit them, it used all its strength. Together, the 2 of them had caused their current situation. Yunchujio was also stunned. Ugh, I didn't expect it to be so uncontrollable. It'll work harder. This fellow kept waving her hands, and several small lightning bolts struck toward the illusionary electric eel. This time, the small lightning bolts changed their previous slow attitude and struck toward the illusionary electric eel with the speed of lightning. The illusionary electric eel's whiskers were broken, and it was mad with anger. This time, it did not dare to fight with force. When it saw the small lightning bolts coming, it quickly swam to the side. It did not expect that the small lightning bolts would also turn and chase after it. The illusionary electric eel was not feeling good. Who could tell it why the lightning would turn? It was impossible. The illusionary electric eel was so scared that it quickly swam to the side. However, its body was too big. Although its head dodged, its tail could not dodge nimbly enough, and it was hit by a few small lightning strikes. Although its skin was rough and its flesh was thick, it still trembled in pain. Its heart was broken. The electric current attack had no effect on the little pervert in front of it. It could have used its whiskers to attack, but the whiskers had been cut off and was still bleeding. Not to mention the presence of the human little pervert, even if it did not move, it would still be in pain. Yunchujio took the chance. To her, this illusionary electric eel was just a bigger loach. As long as she did not let it bite her, it would not be a threat to her. Yunchujio smiled sweetly at it. Little loach, I still have a big killer move. Watch carefully. The illusionary electric eel could not help but shiver. This little pervert smile was so scary. What was he going to do? Yunchujio waved her hand and continued to strike out the little lightning. At the same time, she summoned 5 swords and stabbed them at the illusionary electric eel. Using the 5 swords was encouraging a bad habit. This little demon even said that she would break the contract with them after the enchantment. The more she used them, the more comfortable she became. She had no intention of breaking the contract at all. They could be considered to have boarded a pirate ship. Chapter 833 Forced the fish to rebel. When the illusionary electric eel saw the 5 swords flying toward it, its heart broke. It originally thought that it would be a very easy mission, but who knew that it would encounter a little pervert? Sob, sob, I quit. I just want to go home. The illusionary electric eel turned around and ran. If it did not run, its little life would be finished. Wait, little loach, don't you want to regain your freedom? Are you willing to be enslaved by others? Yun Chujio shouted from behind. Although the illusionary electric eel paused for a moment, it still continued to swim forward. This little pervert must be deceiving it. It could not be fooled. If it stopped, he would definitely kill it with a sword. Little loach, what I said is genuine. You signed an equal contract with that person, right? As long as you listen to me, I promise to help you regain your freedom. The illusionary electric eel was a little tempted. It had been forcibly contracted by someone. Its ideal home was the vast sea, and it was not a person's spiritual pet at all. Moreover, that person's spiritual power was slightly weaker than its own. Then again, this little girl might be lying to it. No, it could not be fooled. Oh, little loach, is that all you have? Do you want to be a cowardly spiritual pet for the rest of your life? Think about the vast sea, and think about the life of an overlord. Don't you dare to take a small risk? In order to show her sincerity, Yun Chujio put away the 5 immortal swords. Yun Chujio's words stimulated something in its body. Yes, it was also once an overlord. Could it just muddle through life? A lifetime of servitude? No, it would not. It wanted to go back to the vast sea. It wanted to live a life again. The electric eel turned its head and swam toward Yun Chujio. It stopped 100 feet away from her. Apparently, it wanted to hear Yun Chujio's plan. Those people aren't good at swimming. You can just capsize their boat. Although you can't kill your master, you can kill the others. Those people will be left in your hands. We're responsible for killing your master. As long as he dies, the contract will naturally be cancelled. Even if we can't kill him, you can still forcefully cancel the contract while he is distracted to deal with us. Although it may cause some damage to your primordial spirit, you will be free in the future. It's worth it to pay such a price. Moreover, if you trust me, I promise you that I will help you refine a spirit-replenishing pill to help you restore your primordial spirit. Whether you want to be a spirit pet without dignity or a free overlord is up to you. If you agree with my opinion, then lift up your broken whisker. If you don't agree, then I won't be polite. I haven't eaten braised eel in a long time. Yun Chujio said as she summoned the 5 fairy swords again and played with the water. The illusionary electric eel was so angry that it almost fainted. This little pervert. How is this a choice for me? It's clearly forcing me into it. It was forcing me to rebel. The illusionary electric eel thought for a moment. The little pervert was right. The worst outcome was that a part of its primordial spirit would be damaged. Even if the little pervert did not help it refine the tonic pill, it could cultivate for hundreds of years and be as good as new. No matter what, it was better than being ordered around like a dog. Forget it, it'll go all out. When the illusionary electric eel thought of this, it raised one of its whiskers, indicating that it agreed with Yun Chujio's suggestion. Yu Hai and the others were completely dumbfounded. Damn, what was going on? Their sect master had tricked a Tier 13 illusionary electric eel into rebelling? Damn, this was too awesome. Chapter 834 The illusionary electric eel that had been turned. Yun Chujio nodded in satisfaction. As the saying goes, a wise man submits to circumstances. Little loach, you will definitely have great development in the future. The illusionary electric eel drooped its head and did not have any reaction. If it were anyone else, they would not be alive and kicking at this time. As a Tier 13 demon creature, it had actually been beaten up by a little pervert. It really had no honor left. Little loach, hurry up. While that bastard still hasn't reacted, hurry up and flip the boat. We will act according to the plan. Yun Chujio waved her little claws, signaling the illusionary electric eel to act quickly. The illusionary electric eel nodded, turned around, and quickly swam toward the boat where Fan Zhen was. Fan Zhen and the others were also a little puzzled. Why did they still not see the bodies of those people float up after such a long time? Logically speaking, the battle should have been resolved a long time ago. Could it be that the illusionary electric eel was still playing around with them? Fan Zhen used his spiritual sense to urge the illusionary electric eel. When the illusionary electric eel heard his tone that sounded like he was reprimanding a dog, it became even more impatient. Its determination to kill him became even firmer. The illusionary electric eel swam from the bottom of the water to the bottom of the boat. Although Fan Zhen and the others saw the water churning, they thought that the illusionary electric eel was chasing after Yun Chujio and the others, so they did not care. The boat that Fan Zhen and the others were on was not big, and it did not have any defensive functions. How could it withstand the collision of the illusionary electric eel? It immediately flipped over. Those people were still gloating and pointing on the boat when they fell into the water unprepared. It was suddenly chaotic. The scariest thing was that the moment they fell into the water, several electric currents shot toward them. They were not good at swimming, so after being hit by the electric currents, they panicked and wanted to open their mouths to call for help. Water immediately rushed into their mouths. Fan Zhen was shocked. He was so angry that he used his spiritual sense to curse at the eel. "Are you crazy? Those are our people." Fan Zhen thought that the illusionary electric eel could not distinguish clearly for a moment, which was why it hurt the silver-masked emissaries. He did not expect that it had been turned around by this little pervert, Yun Chujio. It was as if Fan Zhen had not said anything as the illusionary electric eel vented all the anger it had suffered from Yun Chujio on the silver-masked emissary. Looking at the silver-masked men rolling their eyes from being electrocuted, its confidence was restored. It seemed that its electric current attack was still as powerful as before. It was that kid who was too abnormal. It was not that its spiritual power had deteriorated. Fan Zhen was so angry that he was about to use his spiritual sense to suppress the illusionary electric eel when several small purple lightning bolts rushed toward him swiftly. Fan Zhen saw the situation and did not care about the silver-masked men anymore. He quickly swam to the side, trying to avoid the purple lightning bolts. He did not expect that the lightning would actually turn around and charge toward him again. Fan Zhen was extremely shocked. How can Shiling's energy attack turn around? Heavenly lightning root spirit. Could it be that this Shiling was a disguise by Yun Chujio? She actually escaped from the ancient sword tomb? How could this be possible? Fan Zhen looked fiercely at Yun Chujio, who was opposite him. This wretched girl had repeatedly ruined their plans. This time, no matter what, he had to kill her. Fan Zhen released several wind blades to counteract the small purple lightning bolts. Then he threw several more wind blades at Yun Chujio. Although the speed of the wind blades in the water would be reduced, Fan Zhen was still at the 7th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. Even if his speed was reduced, the power of the wind blades was about the same as that of the 5th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. Yun Chujio did not dare to be negligent. She quickly dodged and waved her hands. Several lightning bolts struck at Fan Zhen once again. The two of them tangled in a fight. Chapter 835. Red Spider Lily Secret Technique. Yun Chujio held Fan Zhen back while Yu Hai and the others swam to the side and began to pick up the scraps. After those silver-masked men were struck by the electric current of the illusionary electric eel, their combat strength was greatly reduced. How could Yu Hai and the others let go of such a good opportunity? They naturally wanted to take the opportunity to end their lives. These silver-masked men were simply about to collapse. Damn it! Can anyone tell me why this illusionary electric eel has gone crazy? Why is it attacking us instead of the enemy? Although the number of silver-masked men was 5 times more than Yu Hai and the others, they could not withstand the sudden change in attitude of the illusionary electric eel. In addition, they were not good at swimming, so they immediately fell into a disadvantageous position. On the other hand, the more Fan Zhen fought, the more alarmed he became. How could this Yun Chujio be so difficult to deal with? Although she might have hidden her spiritual power, she would not be above the third level of the Spirit Emperor realm. How could she hold on for such a long time when he was giving it his all? Could it be that she could fight against someone of a higher level? Fan Zhen looked to the side during the battle and was pissed to no end. He saw that not only did the illusionary electric eel not help the silver-masked emissary to deal with the enemy, but it also shocked the silver-masked emissary as if it was Yun Chujia's spiritual pet. Fan Zhen was so angry that he gritted his teeth. This ungrateful beast. When it killed Yun Chujio, it would definitely teach this beast a lesson. When Fan Zhen was gnashing his teeth, he was shocked to see Yun Chujio summon 5 immortal swords that went at him. Impossible. How can Yun Chujio command 5 immortal swords to attack at the same time? Why is her spiritual sense so powerful? I can't let this scourge live. I must kill her today. Fan Zhen bit his middle finger and started to form a seal with his hands. A pattern of the red spider lily appeared in the water. Suddenly, it turned into thousands of poisonous arrows and shot at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was so scared that she quickly sank down. She took out a rolling pin and spun it swiftly to shield against the poisonous arrows. Even so, a few poisonous arrows pierced Yun Chujio's thigh. Fan Zhen was ecstatic in his heart. The poisonous arrows formed by the secret technique were extremely poisonous. This wretched girl was dead for sure. Yun Chujio grimaced in pain and quickly shouted at the illusionary electric eel, "Little Loach, hurry up and move, or it will be too late." The illusionary electric eel naturally did not want to damage its primordial spirit. It wanted Yun Chujio to kill Fan Zhen. Now that it looked like Yun Chujio was no match for Fan Zhen, it had no choice but to forcefully cancel the contract with Fan Zhen. Just as Fan Zhen was feeling pleased with himself, he felt a sharp pain to come from his spiritual sense. He was so angry that he almost went crazy. "Lightning, what are you doing? Are you crazy? If I had not been forcefully abducted by you, would I have acknowledged you as my master? Acknowledging you as my master is worse than acknowledging that little pervert as my master. I will terminate the contract with you today. I want to regain my freedom. If you know what's good for you, then cooperate with me. Otherwise, I'd rather die with you. Neither of us can get better." The illusionary electric eel had suffered for so many years, it had long had enough. Fan Zhen did not expect that his spiritual pet would betray him in such a short period of time. It must have been Yun Chujio, that stinky girl. How did she do it? Fan Zhen was naturally unwilling to break the contract with the illusionary electric eel just like that. He had not expected that the illusionary electric eel would actually strip a strand of its spiritual sense directly from its primordial spirit. Fan Zhen immediately lost control of the illusionary electric eel. Fan Zhen was so angry that he gritted his teeth. What kind of bewitching potion did Yun Chujio give the illusionary electric eel? It would actually rather harm its primordial spirit to break the contract with him. What made him even more surprised was that after Yun Chujio pulled out the poisonous arrow from her leg, she stuffed a pill into her mouth and was totally fine again. Chapter 836. Duped again. Fan Zhen stood dumbfounded. The poison in the arrows formed by the secret technique of the red spider lily was extremely potent. How was Yun Chujio still fine? Just as Fan Zhen felt bewildered, Yun Chujio directed 5 flying swords to stab at him. "What the fuck? How dare you pepper me with poisonous arrows? I'll kill you." Although the illusionary electric eel's primordial spirit was damaged, it wished that it could vent all the pain that it had suffered for so many years on Fan Zhen. It also shot a beam of electricity at Fan Zhen. Fan Zhen's heart tightened. He could still gain the upper hand if he fought Yun Chujio alone. However, with the illusionary electric eel around, even if its primordial spirit was damaged, he was not a match for them. For now, the only thing he could do was to escape. When Fan Zhen thought of this, he squeezed out another drop of blood from his index finger and once again used the secret technique of the red spider lily. A huge red spider lily shimmered in front of him and Fan Zhen disappeared into thin air. Yun Chujio frowned. This technique of the godly devil hall was really strange. It could actually instantly make a person disappear? Did he hide or escape? "Little Loach, did that bastard hide or escape? Make one of your whiskers stand if he hid." If he escaped, make it 2 whiskers. Yun Chujio was on full alert, wary that Fan Jin still hid nearby. If he ambushed her, it would be bad for her. The illusionary electric eel stuck out 2 of its whiskers, indicating that Fan Jin had already run away. Yun Chujio frowned. Fan Jin actually left his subordinates behind and ran away by himself? The people from the Godly Devil Hall were indeed ruthless. Little Loach, help me take down these people. I will reward you with delicious food later. Yun Chujio was a foodie, so she subconsciously thought that the others around her were all foodies too. The illusionary electric eel rolled its eyes, but it still swam over and helped Yu Hai and the others take care of those silver-masked men. Yun Chujio thought happily in her heart. There were so many silver-masked men. She only needed to capture a few of them alive to get more information. That was great. However, what Yun Chujio never expected was that those silver-masked men suddenly bled to death from their 7 orifices. What was going on? They had all taken poison to commit suicide? Even so, they wouldn't have died so neatly? What was going on? Now was not the time to delve further. Yun Chujio asked Yu Hai and the others to put away the silver-masked men's corpses. Then, she asked the illusionary electric eel, Little Loach, are you going to stay in this lake or follow me? I'll send you back to the sea when there's an opportunity. Even if you don't recognize me as your master, you can still enter my spirit beast bag. Don't worry, I didn't kill you before, and I won't kill you in the future. The illusionary electric eel felt that it was better to recuperate for some time now that its spiritual sense was damaged. Moreover, if it followed this little monster, he might even be able to get a tonic pill. Therefore, it nodded and agreed to go with Yun Chujio. After the illusionary electric eel entered Yun Chujio's spiritual beast bag, it finally realized that something was wrong. The little monster did not kill it previously because she was not yet strong enough to. However, it was different now. Did it just walk into a trap? It was tricked again. Yun Chujio asked Yu Hai and the others to clean up the battlefield. She swam back to the place where it had fought with the illusionary electric eel just now. It also stored the 2 broken whiskers of the illusionary electric eel into its storage ring. These 2 whiskers were enough to make a swing. After everything was done, everyone finally surfaced and found an open space. Yun Chujio summoned her flying spiritual device and everyone boarded the flying tool to continue their journey. Only a few of Yu Hai's men were slightly injured. The rest of them were unharmed. They admired Yun Chujio very much. If he had not jumped into the lake and not used his sharp tongue to provoke the illusionary electric eel, they would already be dead. Sect Master was too awesome. Chapter 837. Our Sect Master is a woman. After everyone boarded the flying spirit tool, Yun Chujio asked Yu Hai to retrieve the corpse of a silver-masked man. After she examined it, she discovered that he did not die from poison. Yun Chujio asked Yu Hai to collect all the storage rings of the silver-masked men. Other than finding some jade tokens and medicinal pills engraved with the spider lily symbol, Yun Chujio did not find anything else of value. Yun Chujio gave all the spirit stones to Yu Hai and the others. Each of them received over 10 million low-grade spirit stones. Yu Hai and the others were so scared that they did not dare to accept them. Sect Master, this is too much. It's better to use it for the sect. Yes, Sect Master, we are not worthy of it. Sect Master, it's better for you to keep it for yourself. We have already divided quite a lot of spirit stones among ourselves before this. What's there to be polite about? Just take it. Our Heavenly Thunder sect is really rich. This is just a small taste. There will be more to share with you in the future. The 15 of you will be our Thunder sect's founding elders in the future. You might even become peak masters. Yun Chujio began to passionately brainwash them. Yu Hai and the other fighting spirits were ignited by the beautiful future plans that Yun Chujio had described. They wanted nothing more than to immediately show off their skills. Alright, all of you were very tired from the fierce battle just now. Take turns to drive and be on guard. They'll go in and rest too. Yun Chujio saw she had almost completely brainwashed them, so she went into the inner room to rest. Yun Chujio sorted out the recent events and felt that the powers behind the Godly Devil Hall were not to be underestimated. They had trained many subordinates under everyone's noses and had even built up several forces in the Endless Sea and the Chimeric Plains. From what Renlizzi had said, the master's spiritual power was even higher than that of the mighty figures in the Tianyuan continent. Although it might be exaggerated, one of his subordinates, Gold-Face, had reached the 7th level of the spiritual emperor realm. His strength was truly unfathomable. Moreover, the 2 times that gold-faced emissary had used the secret art of the red spider lily were both extremely powerful. If not for Strangegrass, she might have already died. Moreover, they were able to control the ancient sword tomb's array formation and even break the underwater array formation. It was truly inconceivable that they knew about ancient array formations. However, the only good news was that they had yet to find the location of the Eye of the Earth. Otherwise, they wouldn't have developed their forces to search for the map. It was truly a pity that Gold-Face's emissary escaped. Otherwise, they would be able to get more useful information out of him. Also, why did those silver-masked emissaries suddenly die? It was really strange. Forget it. I'll ask Prince Charming when we meet up. Maybe he will know. Speaking of which, we should be able to meet Prince Charming in another 2 days at most. Just thinking about it is making me a little excited. 2 days later, Yun Chujio was reading a script when Yu Hai ran in and said, "Sect Master, there's a flying spirit tool flying towards us." The person inside indicated that we should land immediately. Yun Chujio was delighted. Could it be Prince Charming? Yun Chujio quickly ran to the front of the observation window. As soon as she saw the flashy flying spiritual tool in front of her, Yun Chujio knew who it was. It was the black chicken head. Yun Chujio poked her head out of the porthole. "Brother Wuji, is that you?" "Little sister Jio. It's really you. Wu, I've been thinking so much about you. I thought I would never see you again." Shui Wuji wailed half-truthfully, but his eyes were already red. Yun Chujio's eyes were also slightly red. This time, it could be said that she had narrowly escaped death. Any mistake in her adventures recently would have cost her her life. "Land immediately." "It's my brother Wuji," Yun Chujio said to the crowd. Yu Hai and the others were all dumbfounded. "Little sister Jio? What the hell? Their sect master is a woman? Not a man." Chapter 838. About to be struck to death by lightning, Yu Hai let out a long sigh of relief after he recovered from the initial shock. Damn, it was not so bad that the sect master was a woman. At least he did not have to worry that she was aligned sideways. He had been scared to death these past few days. After Yu Hai saw Shui Wuji's appearance, he no longer had the slightest bit of worry from before. Regardless of whether the sect master was a man or a woman, when it came to that brother Wuji, they would not even be seen in the same light. That brother Wuji was too handsome. He looked like he stepped out of a painting. Compared to him, they were all ugly. They found a clearing nearby and landed the 2 flying spirit tools. Upon touching the ground, Shui Wuji howled and pounced towards Yun Chujio, wanting to give Yun Chujio a big hug. However, Shui Wuji had yet to arrive in front of Yun Chujio when he heard a shout from the sky. "Shui Wuji! Stop right there." Everyone looked up and saw a white-robed man flying over from not far away on his sword. His eyebrows were as sharp as ink and his eyes were sharp. Anyone who saw him could not help but want to kneel and submit. Shui Wuji pursed his lips. The damn facial paralysis arrived too quickly. Just a little bit more and he would little sister Jio away. Just as Di Baiming landed on the ground, Yun Chujio pounced on him. "Prince Charming! I missed you so much. I thought I would never see you again." Di Baiming hugged Yun Chujio tightly in his arms. His heart was filled with all kinds of feelings. Guilt, heartache, and joy were all mixed together. He could not even say a single word. "Enough, enough. Don't get too excited. There will be plenty of opportunities for that in the future. Little sister Jio, hurry up and tell me how you escaped." As Shui Wuji looked at the 2 of them, his heart felt sour. Even little sister Jio was not so excited when she saw him. Sure enough, she only had Di Baiming in her eyes. His heart felt like it had been cut by 1,000 swords. Yun Chujio broke into a smile and said smugly, "Oh right, Prince Charming, brother Wuji, I will be the sect master of the Heavenly Thunder Sect from now on. These are all members of the Heavenly Thunder Sect. Di Baiming and Shui Wuji were dumbfounded. How did she become a sect master after not seeing her for a few months? Little sister Jiao, what's going on with this Heavenly Thunder Sect? Are they originally from another sect? Shui Wuji sized up Yu Hai and the others. There were 5 spirit emperors among them, and the rest were all above the 5th layer of the spirit cultivator realm. It was not bad, but what was this Heavenly Thunder Sect all about? They were originally from the Fishbone Gang. The Heavenly Thunder Sect is my newly established sect. How about it? I'm pretty good at naming things, right? The Heavenly Thunder Sect is the ancestor of the Thunder Sect. That damned old bastard Tiandao always wants to strike me down. This time, I can finally hold my head up high. Yun Chujio said smugly. Yu Hai and the others' faces were stiff. The ancestor of the Thunder Sect? Old bastard Tiandao? Damn it, would it be too late for them to leave the sect now? Sect Master, are you crazy? You dared to shout at the wild heavenly lightning and Tiandao. Are you not afraid that Tiandao will get angry? Just as Yu Hai and the others were cursing in their hearts, they felt the sky darken. A few dark clouds were rapidly gathering around them. Yu Hai and the others thought to themselves, it's over. Tiandao is going to send down heavenly lightning to strike their sect master. Oh, sect master, even if the name you came up with really meant that you should have kept it to yourself. Why did you say it out loud? Great, now that you've angered Tiandao, he will strike you to death with lightning. Their Heavenly Thunder Sect was plagued with disasters. A few days ago, they were almost destroyed by that godly devil hall. This time, their sect master was going to be struck to death by lightning again. Chapter 839. Heavenly Lightning was also afraid, Sect Master, those lightning clouds must be here for you. Well, get its attention. You'd better find a place to hide. Yu Hai said worriedly. And Feng stood at the side, thinking to himself that these new subordinates of Miss Jiao were quite loyal. However, they did not know that their sect master was a monster in a small frame. In a while, their worldview would be completely changed. Yun Chujio waved her hand at Yu Hai and the others. Don't worry. I'm about to break through. That little weak lightning can't do anything to me. All of you, step back and stay far away from me so that you won't be hurt. What the hell? You're about to break through? What does your breakthrough have to do with the heavenly lightning? Also, what is a little weak lightning? Can the heavenly lightning be described as weak? Sect Master, you should be more careful. However, when Yu Hai and the others saw that Yun Chujia's confident attitude and that the 2 men with high spiritual power did not seem to care at all, they could only back off. Yun Chujio took out a handkerchief to tie up her hair and then said to Di Baiming and Shui Wuji with a smile, Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, you guys wait for me over there too. After I've gotten rid of these weaklings, we can have a good chat. Both of them had seen Yun Chujia's abnormal performance before, so they retreated to the side without any objections. She was still fine even after being repeatedly struck in the ancient sword tomb. This bit of heavenly lightning was nothing at all. Yu Hai and the others looked at the dark clouds in the sky and were a little puzzled. Those dark clouds were originally floating quite fast, but why were they now trembling on the spot and not moving forward? Yun Chujio was a little impatient from waiting. Hey, what's wrong? Time is money and time is life. Don't you feel ashamed wasting your time like this? Hurry up and strike me a few times. I'm a busy girl. Yu Hai and the others were unable to express their feelings. They only had 5 words for Yun Chujio. You have a death wish. How could she ask to be struck by lightning in such a rush? Our sect master is seeking death by playing tricks on the heavens. When the dark clouds heard Yun Chujio's shout, they all gathered together while they trembled. When Yun Chujio saw that they were finally ready to start throwing a few bolts, she said with satisfaction, Not bad. Since you learned from your mistakes, you can work together as a large thundercloud. Come on, strike. I'm ready. The dark clouds randomly struck the area around her and then they abruptly scrambled to float away. Yun Chujio looked at the charred trees around her and then looked at the intact ground around her, she mumbled, Could it be that the eyes of this batch of wild heavenly lightning clouds are not very good? Why did they all go? If I had known this would happen, I would have taken the initiative to welcome them. It has been a long time since I was struck by lightning. I miss that numbing feeling. Yu Hai and the others were dumbfounded. Their worldview had been shattered and rebuilt into something new. Damn, it seemed that not only were ghosts afraid of evildoers, but heavenly lightning was also afraid of evildoers. Our sect master only shouted a few words, but the heavenly thunder was so frightened that it could not strike her accurately. And Feng looked at Yu Hai and the others sympathetically and thought to himself, this is just a taste. In the future, there will be many things about her that will scare you. Steal your little hearts. You are both lucky and unlucky at the same time for having such a sect master. Yun Chujio put away the handkerchief and then said with a smile, Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, it's noon now. Let's roast some meat and eat. Let's talk while eating. Yun Chujio had been craving roast meat for a long time, but she had been on tenterhooks these days. She was afraid that the people of the godly devil hall would take revenge on her, so she did not have the time to roast some. Now she finally had a chance to indulge herself. Chapter 840, Soul Shatter. Yun Chujio cheerfully ordered Feng and the others to roast the meat, while she excitedly told Di Baiming and Shui Wuji about her experiences. The two of them were stunned when they heard what she went through recently. Thousands of spirit tools attacking the enchantment at the same time? Making an ally with the level 13 giant tsunami turtle? Killing 2 level 13 bloodthirsty sword shark? Annihilating the Yongxing Trading Company? Incited a level 13 illusionary electric eel? Killed dozens of silver-masked emissaries from the godly demon temple? And Feng was busy barbecuing meat, but after hearing most of it he was filled with admiration for Yun Chujio. I told you, why are you afraid of others bullying Miss Jio? It's already a miracle that she doesn't bully others. Even a level 13 sea beast wasn't a match for Miss Jio. Who would dare to provoke such a strong woman? Prince Charming, why do you think those silver-masked men suddenly died? I've checked their corpses. They didn't commit suicide by taking poison. Yun Chujio asked in confusion. Little Jio, take out one of their corpses. I'll take a look. Di Baiming said in a deep voice. Shui Wuji curled his lips. Little Jio, you think too highly of him. You're so smart but you still couldn't find the cause. What makes you think he will? It's a waste of your time. Yun Chujio thought that Di Baiming would turn hostile when she heard Shui Wuji talking about Di Baiming. She did not expect Di Baiming to act as if he did not hear him. He did not even look at Shui Wuji. Yun Chujio looked at Shui Wuji and then looked at Di Baiming. She was puzzled. What had happened in the past few months? Why was the pretty boy so patient with Black Chicken Head? After Di Baiming examined the corpse of a silver-masked man, he pondered for a moment and said, Ren Lizzie once said that after the silver-masked man died, the higher-ups would immediately know who killed them, right? Yun Chujio nodded. That's right. I don't think he is lying. I once read in an old book that in ancient times, there was a secret technique called Soul Shatter. Back then, the gold-masked man must have left a mark in the silver-masked man's psyche. Therefore, the gold-masked man could use a special method to see through the eyes of the silver-masked man before he died. However, if the gold-masked man used a secret technique to activate the mark, it could cause the silver-masked man's soul to shatter and die. Di Baiming frowned. This godly devil hall knew about ancient arrays and ancient secret arts. They must be powerful. Shui Wuji did not expect Di Baiming to come up with that conclusion. He rubbed his nose awkwardly and said, You're just guessing. It might not be the case. The ancient secret arts have been lost after all. How would they know about it? Brother Wuji, what the Prince Charming said should be right. The godly devil hall is strange. The golden-masked man used their secret arts twice. Each time, a huge spider lily would manifest. One time, it transformed into thousands of poisonous arrows. Although I tried my best to dodge, I was still stabbed in the thigh. The second time, when he ran away, he just disappeared into thin air. Your leg is injured? Let me see. Di Baiming automatically ignored the rest of the information. his entire attention was on Yun Chujia's leg. "Di Baiming, are you shameless? Little Sister Jio's leg is injured, what are you looking at? Besides, if you didn't see little Sister Jio jumping around, she would have recovered a long time ago. Don't take advantage of little Sister Jio." Shui Wuji cursed when he saw Di Baiming staring at Yun Chujia's leg. Di Baiming could not take it anymore, and he looked at Shui Wuji coldly. "Shui Wuji, I've tolerated you for a few months, and this is the first and last time I'm warning you. If you dare to speak rudely to me again, I'll teach you a lesson." Chapter 841. Shui Wuji complaining. Shui Wuji saw that Di Baiming was angry. He feared for his safety. He muttered, "I'm not wrong, am I? How can I let you ogle at little Sister Jio's leg just like that?" Yun Chujio quickly put out the fire and said with a smile, "Prince Charming, I'm already fine. I'll be okay after eating some pills. Don't be angry. Let's eat some roasted meat. I'm dying of hunger." Di Baiming then snorted coldly and sat down. Yun Chujio was afraid that the two of them would start arguing again and quickly changed the topic. That Renlizi also said that their master is absurdly strong. He said that he's even more powerful than the mighty figures in the Tianyuan continent. I don't think he's bragging, but if that dog-shit master is so powerful, why didn't he personally look for the eye of the earth? To regain his face, Shui Wuji said, "Little Sister Jio, you may not know this, but although that master is powerful, his spiritual power might be suppressed while in the Azure Mystic Continent. Moreover, a person's energy is limited. No matter how powerful he is, he can't go around everywhere looking for the eye of the earth. Naturally, he wants to preserve his power, so it's more practical to let his subordinates do the hard work. It's also possible that for some reason, that master can't come to the Azure Mystic Continent at all," Di Baiming added. Yun Chujio sighed. Perhaps the godly Devil Hall has already planted spies in the 4 great sections. Renlizi also said that there was a big plan recently. I don't know what kind of plan it is, but I have a feeling that a storm is coming. Little Sister Jio, you don't have to worry. I will protect you. I am not like some people who will only watch you fall into a deep pit without saving you." Shui Wuji obviously had a memory problem. Although he was just told off by Di Baiming, he still blurted out something offensive. After finishing his words, he also felt a little guilty. He said with a fierce expression, "Di Baiming, I'm telling the truth. You won't even let me tell the truth, right?" "You're right. I'm useless. Little Jio, don't worry. From now on, I will work harder in my cultivation. I won't let that happen again," Di Baiming said in a low voice. He looked at Yun Chujio with a determined gaze. Yun Chujio nodded. "Yes, my Prince Charming. I believe in you." When Shui Wuji saw that Di Baiming and Yun Chujio gazed at each other lovingly, his heart felt sour as if it had been soaked in vinegar. He rolled his eyes and said, "Little Jio, the meat is ready." Sure enough, Yun Chujio's attention immediately shifted from Di Baiming to the fragrant roasted meat. "Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, it's time to eat. I've been living in the wild these few days and had never eaten a decent meal. Today, I can finally indulge myself." Yun Chujio wiped off her saliva and said. Di Baiming's eyes flashed with a trace of pity. He took out a square table from his storage ring and placed a lot of Yun Chujio's favorite food on it. The foodie in Yun Chujio immediately beamed with joy. "Prince Charming, you know me well. These are all my favorite foods. When I was trapped inside the enchantment, other than thinking about you, I only thought about these delicacies." Di Baiming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It seemed that his status was only slightly higher than the delicacies on the table. After everyone finished eating and drinking, they summoned their flying spirit tools and prepared to return to the Spirit Radiance sect. Yun Chujio and Di Baiming would naturally travel together in a flying spirit tool, yet Shui Wuji shamelessly insisted on going with them. Although Di Baiming wanted nothing more than to slap him to death, he could not stop Shui Wuji from complaining. "Di Baiming, if I hadn't been encouraging you for the past 4 months, would you have been able to endure it? I took the risk of being slapped to death by you and encouraged you all day long. It wasn't easy for me too. Yet I can't even hitch a ride?" Chapter 842. A beautiful and graceful young lady secret agent Hua Hua sighed in her heart. Young master, why are you doing this? As the saying goes, out of sight, out of mind. Could it be that you have a masochistic streak? Do you have to watch the two of them make out with each other and then come back howling in sadness? In the end, secret agent Hua Hua and phone boarded D. Baiming's flying spirit tool. Yu Hai and the others piloted another flying spirit tool and flew towards the spirit radiance sect. Yun Chujio felt that with D. Baiming by her side, she immediately felt at ease. She had a good meal and slept soundly. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, wait for me in the cockpit. I'm going to take a shower. I've been using the cleaning spell for such a long time. It's uncomfortable to not take a proper shower after such a long time, said Yun Chujio as she felt that a proper shower was overdue after her recent adventures. Shui Wuji was fine, but D. Baiming's ears turned red. When he thought of the previous incident, his heart started to beat violently. He kept telling himself not to think about it, but the scene from that time kept appearing. Shui Wuji's eyes flashed. D. Baiming, what are you thinking about? Don't tell me you just had some bad thoughts about little sister Jio? What are you talking about? I was thinking about the godly devil hall. The romantic thoughts in D. Baiming's mind instantly dissipated. Humph! You can't lie to me. Then tell me, what exactly about the godly devil hall are you thinking of? Shui Wuji curled his lips and asked. According to what Ren Lizzie said, the master's spiritual power is so high that the eye of the earth in the Azure Mystic Continent might not be enough to satisfy his appetite. Do you think his hand has already extended to the Black Sky Continent? D. Baiming said with a serious expression. This shouldn't be possible, right? Those pills that could increase spiritual power rapidly were not very useful to the cultivators in Black Sky Continent. If there were no pills to bribe them with, he would not have any other tool to persuade the cultivators there. Besides, we are not to be trifled with. Who would dare to play such tricks under our noses? Shui Wuji said with great confidence. The Eastern Continent is indeed under our control, but the Western Continent and the 10,000-year frozen wilds are not. Perhaps he has already started his operation there, D. Baiming said with a slight frown. Shui Wuji was stunned for a moment. He thought for a moment and said, although the Western Continent and the 10,000-year frozen wilds are not under our control, the weather there is terrible and high-level demon beasts run rampant. There is a limit to how much one can develop their forces there. At most, we can send people to scout the area. D. Baiming nodded. Although the Hall of Longevity and Demon Blood sect usually fought each other, if the safety of the Black Sky Continent was involved, the overall situation would naturally be more important. As the two of them were talking, Yun Chujio jumped out from inside. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, what are you talking so excitedly about? D. Baiming and Shui Wuji raised their heads and were instantly stunned. Standing in front of them was a beautiful and graceful young lady. Although her body had not fully grown, there was already a slight curve on her body. Her fair skin was as delicate as jade, and her facial features were exquisite as carved from marble. A pair of eyes were looking at them mischievously. Little sister Jio? Are you really little sister Jio? Shui Wuji blurted out in disbelief. Although Yun Chujio could be considered a little beauty before, there was still a gap between her and the young lady in front of him at that time. D. Baiming stood in front of Shui Wuji and said, Little Jio, I think it's more convenient for you to wear men's clothes. D. Baiming, are you blind? Little sister Jio looks so good in women's clothes. Little sister Jio, you are the most beautiful girl I have ever seen. You're just like a little fairy. Shui Wuji said flatteringly. Chapter 843. The treasure of the Yun family. Yun Chujio did not look at herself in the mirror after taking a shower. After hearing what Shui Wuji said, she immediately took out a mirror. Then, she touched the mirror with her hand in disbelief. She exclaimed, Damn! Is this beauty in the mirror really me? I finally understand what it means to be able to topple a city with one look and then a country with another. Ha! I, Yun Chujio, have finally turned from a sparrow into a phoenix. I was still a black sparrow back then. Shui Wuji rubbed his chin. All right, she was originally very beautiful, but after little sister Jio showed off, some of the charms had faded. A true beauty still depended on her temperament. Yun Chujio stood in front of the mirror and admired herself for an hour. She exhausted all the words about beauty in her vocabulary describing herself before she put away the mirror contentedly. To show off, she intentionally let the flying spirit tool land on wide empty space. She circled around in front of Yu Hai and the others, and as she intended, she saw the faces of her dumbfounded subordinates. Only then did get on the flying spirit tool. Yu Hai and the others did not regain their senses until they boarded their own flying spirit tool. Damn it, our sect master is actually so beautiful. This god is really unfair. Not only is our sect master's spiritual power abnormal, but she is also so beautiful. Life is so unfair to us. The thing that Yun Chujio was suddenly most obsessed with while on the way was to look in the mirror. As she looked in the mirror, she would start to mumble to herself as if she was possessed. And Feng secretly criticized her. The current state of the ninth miss was like a poor person who had suddenly become rich. It would probably take some time for her to get used to her beauty. However, the ninth miss appearance had indeed become more and more beautiful. She was comparable now to the famous beauties in the Tianyuan continent. A month later, everyone finally arrived near the Spirit Radiance sect. Yun Chujio did not return to the Spirit Radiance sect immediately. Instead, she took a detour to Spirit Radiance City. Firstly, she wanted to visit Yun Xiaotian. Secondly, she wanted to settle Yu Hai and the others somewhere. Yun Xiaotian had not known about the news of Yun Chujio's accident. Yun Chujio also told everyone not to mention it. Grandfather, do you think I've become more beautiful? The first thing Yun Chujio did when she saw Yun Xiaotian was to show off her appearance. Yun Xiaotian nodded. Your general appearance hasn't changed much, but your skin has become whiter, and facial features have become more exquisite. In grandfather's heart, little Jio has always been a beautiful little fairy. Hee hee, grandfather's taste is still the best. I was born with natural beauty. Yun Chujio's eyelashes immediately beamed with joy. She grabbed Yun Xiaoshan's arm and hopped into the room. And Feng gave Yun Xiaotian a salute in his heart. The older the ginger, the spicier it is. Look at how good old Master Yun is at sweet-talking. We still have a lot to learn from him. After everyone had their lunch, Yun Xiaotian said to Yun Chujio, Little Jio, come to my study. Grandfather has something to tell you. Yun Chujio's heart sank when she saw Yun Xiaoshan's serious expression. Did something happen? Grandfather, what do you want to talk to me about? Yun Chujio asked impatiently after entering the study. Yun Xiaotian sighed, Little Jio, grandfather is not senile yet. Tell me honestly, did you run into danger again? Yun Chujio laughed dryly, Grandfather, I kept quiet because I was afraid that you would be worried. Besides, I'm still alive and kicking now. Isn't everything fine? Sigh. In the end, grandfather is useless and can't protect you. Yun Xiaotian sighed deeply. Grandfather, how can you think like that? Little Jio was naughty and stupid in the past. If it weren't for grandfather protecting me, I might not have been in such a miserable state. Now that I'm more powerful, it will be little Jio protecting you in the future. Yun Chujio said with a serious face. Yun Xiaotian gritted his teeth and seemed to have made up his mind. Then he said, Little Jio, grandfather has something to give you. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and suddenly remembered that when she had just transmigrated, she had overheard her grandfather and housekeeper Ji saying that the Yun family seemed to have some secret treasure. Could it be that grandfather wanted to give that treasure to me? Yun Xiaotian took out a cloth bag from his storage ring and opened it with trembling hands. Inside was another cloth bag. When he opened it again, there was yet another cloth bag. Chapter 844. A black bead. Yun Chujio watched helplessly as Yun Xiaotian opened up a total of 8 layers of cloth, and inside it was a dim, broken black bead. Yun Chujio was instantly discouraged. This broken bead did not have the slightest fluctuation of spiritual power. What kind of treasure was this? Moreover, even if it was really a treasure, it should have been passed to her 4th brother or 5th sister, but not to her. Little Jio, This bead is the family heirloom of our Yun family. Today, grandfather will give it to you. Don't look at it as something ordinary. Your great-grandfather once told me that this bead is the key to a big secret. It must not fall into the hands of others. Yun Xiaotian said solemnly, "Grandfather, you'd better give this bead to uncle. Or you can give it to fourth brother and fifth sister. They are older than me, so shouldn't it be given to them?" Although Yun Chujio was greedy, she still knew what to do and what not to do. Yun Xiaotian shook his head. "When your great-grandfather gave it to me, he also said that this bead would only recognize the Yun family's bloodline. However, all of us, including your father, tried to make this bead recognize its owner, but there was no reaction after our blood was dripped on it. Grandfather has been feeling uneasy recently, and I always feel that something big is about to happen. After thinking about it, grandfather can only be at ease if I give this bead to you. If something happens to grandfather, you can find the right time to hand the bead over to your uncle or Chu Si." "Pooey, pooey, pooey. What you said just now doesn't count. Grandfather, why are you saying such morbid things? No matter what happens, little Jio will protect you." Yun Chujio said angrily. Yun Xiaotian sighed. "Silly child, grandfather is just afraid of what might happen. Grandfather has caused you a lot of trouble. Who knows, this bead might end up attracting more trouble in the future. However, after thinking about it, I realize that only you can protect this bead. Grandfather has let you down." Yun Xiaotian had also struggled for a long time, but recently, he had felt increasingly uneasy. After thinking about it, he decided to bite the bullet and hand the bead over to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio saw that Yun Xiaotian did not seem to be making excuses. She could only take the bead and say, "Grandfather, don't worry. I will take good care of this. When you change your mind one day, I will return it to you." Fortunately, only the Yun family's bloodline can activate this bead. Otherwise, I might be greedy and take it for myself. Yun Xiaotian knew that Yun Chujio was deliberately interrupting him to cheer him up, so he stroked his beard and said, "You greedy little monkey. Were it was not for this reason, would grandfather dare to hand this bead to you?" "Grandfather, does this thing really only recognize the bloodline of the Yun family?" Yun Chujio asked curiously. "Of course. When your great-grandfather gave it to me, he specifically said that only the blood of the Yun family could unlock the secret of this bead. Somewhere along the way, this bead was once seized by others, but they could not do a single thing with it. If you don't believe it, just try it." Yun Xiaotian said with a smile. "How can there be a treasure that only recognizes specific bloodlines? I don't believe it. Grandfather, I'm giving it a go. Don't blame me if it is really activated." Yun Chujio saw that although Yun Xiaotian was smiling, there was still a hint of melancholy between his brows. She was ready to play tricks on him to make Yun Xiaotian laugh. Yun Xiaotian was indeed amused by Yun Chujio's greed. "You greedy little monkey, just try it then. If it really recognizes you as its master, grandfather will give this bead to you. Anyway, you are a member of the Yun family. If it weren't for your bloodline, grandfather would have wanted you to try it long ago." Chapter 845. The damned black bead. Yun Chujio bit her index finger and dropped a single drop of her blood on the bead to entertain her grandfather. As expected, the bead did not show any reaction. Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Grandfather, what you said made sense. This thing is indeed." Before Yun Chujio could finish her words, the bead was firmly attached itself to Yun Chujio's index finger and kept sucking on Yun Chujio's blood. "Grandfather, what's going on? This is a blood-sucking monster. Damn bead, get off." Yun Chujio used her left hand to pull at the bead but had latched on tight to her right index finger and would not budge. Yun Xiaonan was also shocked. He had never expected such a situation. He quickly helped Yun Chujio in trying to pull it off, but he did not dare to use too much force, afraid that he would hurt Yun Chujio's finger. Yun Xiaotian no longer cared about whether it was an heirloom or not. "Xiaojiu, put your hand on the table. Grandfather will smash this bead." Yun Chujio's heart warmed. She knew the meaning of this bead to the Yun family. She gritted her teeth. "Grandfather, if you really can't do it, Use a dagger to chop off a part of my finger. Nonsense. No matter how precious this bead is, it's just an inanimate object. It's not as important as you are. Yun Xiaotian said as he found a small hammer from his storage ring and swung it at the black bead. Unexpectedly, after smashing it, nothing happened to the black bead, but the hammer was shaken until several cracks appeared on it. Yun Xiaotian was instantly dumbfounded. Now, he did not care about keeping it a secret anymore. He raised his head and shouted at Di Baiming, "Baiming! Baiming! Get in here quickly, something happened to little Jiao." When Di Baiming heard Yun Xiaoshen's anxious cry, he was immediately scared out of his wits. He hurriedly rushed into Yun Xiaoshen's study. "Wu, Prince Charming, this damn bead wants to suck out all my blood. Think of a way to get it off. If nothing works, just chop off a part of my finger. Wah! I finally turned into a peerless beauty, but am about to lose a part of my finger. My life is so bitter." Yun Chujio cried loudly. "Little Jiao, don't be anxious. There must be some way to get it off." Di Baiming comforted Yun Chujio while pulling at the black bead. Di Baiming tried several times but failed to remove it. It was as if the black bead was a part of Yun Chujio's finger now and could not be separated at all. Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio's face was getting paler and paler. He gritted his teeth. "Little Jiao, the only way is to cut off this part of your finger. Otherwise, you will die of blood loss. Don't worry, I will a regeneration pill for you from my master. I will make sure that your finger will grow back just as it was before." Yun Chujio nodded and said, "My Prince Charming, do it. It's better to be quick than to be in pain for a long time. After I remove this black bead, I will use lightning to strike it to death." Yun Chujio's eyes lit up when she said this. "Why don't I try using my lightning against this black bead? It might work." Yun Chujio waved her left hand at the black bead and released a purple lightning bolt. What everyone did not expect happened. The purple lightning bolt was actually absorbed by the black bead. When Yun Chujio saw that the black bead had a reaction, she quickly threw out another bolt of lightning towards the black bead. As expected, the black bead once again absorbed the purple lightning bolt into its body. At the same time, Yun Chujio felt that although the black bead was still firmly attached to her hand, it was no longer sucking her blood. Yun Chujio was delighted and quickly waved her left hand towards the black bead. The black bead seemed to have been hungry for a long time and absorbed all the heavenly purple lightning that was thrown at it. Chapter 846. Was little Jiao my biological granddaughter? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and came up with an idea. When she threw the purple lightning bolt again, she deliberately made through it at a slightly crooked angle. As expected, she felt that the black bead had loosened its grip on her finger. Yun Chujio was ecstatic in her heart, but she did not show it on her face. She continued to throw lightning bolts at the black bead with lightning, but she deliberately threw it at increasingly different angles and felt the black bead's grip getting looser. Finally, after Yun Chujio threw another lightning bolt, the black bead completely let go of Yun Chujio's finger and flew towards the lightning bolt to swallow it up. The first thing Yun Chujio did was to wrap her right hand with a cloth. She then took out a large kitchen knife and slashed at the black bead. She was furious. As she slashed, she cursed, "You bastard! You actually want to suck my blood. I'll chop you to death. You like to eat my little lightning bolts, huh? I'll let you eat your fill once I chop you into 360 pieces." The black bead did not move at all and allowed Yun Chujio to slash at it. It was as if the blood-sucking and lightning-devouring were all just an illusion. Yun Chujio held the large kitchen knife and slashed it for a while. Only then did she calm down. She looked down and saw that the black bead was unharmed. The large kitchen knife did not change either. It seemed that she had exerted herself in vain. "Grandfather, this black bead is too strange. You should keep it. If I keep it, I'm afraid I'll die of blood loss one day. Why don't you just throw it into the river?" "I don't think it's useful at all," Yun Chujio said angrily. Yun Xiaotian also did not expect the black bead to cause such a commotion. However, they said that this black bead could only be activated by the Yun family bloodline, so why did it react to little Jiao's blood? No matter the reason, it was a Yun family heirloom, so it definitely could not be thrown away. It was better to put it away somewhere out of reach. Thinking of this, Yun Xiaotian used his spiritual sense to try to put the black bead into his storage ring but found that it would not go back inside. Yun Xiaoan was dumbfounded. It would not go back into his storage ring? What was the meaning of that? Had it meant that the black bead had recognized its master? Little Jios, this black bead has probably recognized you as its master. Yun Xiaotian said with a confused look. Even he felt that it was very strange. His family had always said that only the Yun family bloodline could do such a thing. Could it be that the ancestors were lying to him? Grandfather, what did you say? Yun Xiaotian was already confused, and Yun Chujio even more so. Grandfather tried to put it into the storage ring, but it wouldn't go in. That means it recognized you as its master. What? This bastard recognized me as its master? Grandfather, are you kidding? Didn't you say that only the Yun family's bloodline can activate this black bead? Yun Xiaoan coughed dryly. That was the information that was passed down from the ancestors. But the reality right in front of us now says otherwise. Not only did it suck your blood, but now I can't even keep it in my storage ring. This means that it has already recognized you as its master. Even if it recognized me as its master, I wouldn't want this blood-sucking pearl. Grandfather, you can put it anywhere you want. I don't want it. All right, Grandfather, I thought of a very crucial question. Do you think I'm an illegitimate daughter? When my father went on a journey to train himself, he accidentally conceived me with my mother. He was afraid that you would be angry, so he pretended to have found me while on a mountain. Grandfather, I might be your biological granddaughter. This is impossible. Your father is a clean person, why would he lie to me? Yun Xiaotian retorted unhappily. Grandfather, but the ancestors of the Yun family can't lie, right? Since this black bead cannot recognize an outsider as its master, yet it recognized me as its master now, which means that I am a member of the Yun family. Or am I actually eldest uncle's biological daughter? Eldest uncle was afraid that eldest aunt would be angry, so he asked my father and mother to adopt me? Yun Xiaoan felt that his old heart was about to collapse. Although he felt that it was ridiculous, how could he explain what was happening in front of him now? Could it be that little Jio was really his biological granddaughter? Chapter 847. Established a tripart. This? Little Jio, perhaps your great-grandfather has misremembered something. Your uncle and your father are not the kinds of people to abandon their wives and children. Yun Xiaoshen's old face flushed red. Could it be Chang Xian or Chang Qing? No, those two had always been clean and pure. How could they do something like abandoning their wives and children? Yun Chujio pouted. Grandfather, is it possible that I'm the descendant of you or great-grandfather? Little Jio, how dare you? Yun Xiaotian was so angry that he couldn't care less about the presence of outsiders. He took off his shoes and was about to beat Yun Chujio up. You little bastard. I thought you had changed, but you're still as stubborn as ever. Bai Ming, get out of the way, I must teach her a lesson today. Yun Xiaoshen's old face was flushed red. It was obvious that he was really angry. Little Jio, you should be careful about what you say. Why aren't you apologizing to Senior Yun? Although Di Baiming said it very seriously, he had unintentionally blocked Yun Chujio's small body. Yun Chujio hid behind Di Baiming and poked her little head out. Grandfather, I was just asking, why are you so agitated? If it's not true, then it's not. How do you think I made this broken bead recognize me as its master? How would I know? Maybe this broken bead is also equally eccentric. You two have that in common. Yun Xiaotian was obviously very angry. Hee, Grandfather, don't be angry. You adults don't remember the past, but Grandfather is very broad-minded. What I said just now was just a hypothesis. Our Yun family is upright. How could we do something like abandoning our wives and children? I'm just spouting nonsense. It might be a side effect of losing too much blood. My head is a little dizzy. Yun Chujio covered her head, then she leaned on Di Baiming, looking weak. Seeing Yun Chujio's weak appearance, Yun Xiaoshen's anger simmered down. He quickly asked, "Little Jiao, are you alright? Do you need anything? Quickly eat some blood-nourishing pills." Di Baiming helped Yun Chujiao sit down on a chair where she rested for a short while. She stole a glance at Yun Shaon and saw that his anger had subsided. Only then did she weakly say, "Grandfather, there is another possibility. Perhaps my ancestor is also a member of the Yun family but from another branch. After a long time, he has become unfamiliar with our branch. Perhaps thousands of years ago or tens of thousands of years ago, we shared one ancestor." Yun Shaotian nodded. "This explanation is more reliable. This would explain why you were able to make the black bead recognize you as its master. So what do you plan to do with this black bead?" "This is a harmful thing. I'm going to break the contract with it. I don't want this blood-sucking bastard." Yun Chujiao stared at the black bead on the ground and said fiercely. Yun Chujiao had just finished her sentence when, before anyone could react, the black bead suddenly flew up and directly disappeared into Yun Chujiao's forehead. "Fuck! Get out of there!" Yun Chujiao did not pretend to be weak this time. She jumped up from the chair and lowered her head, shaking it vigorously. "Little Jiao, it's useless for you to shake like that. You need to use your spiritual sense to break the contract." Di Baiming rubbed his forehead. Could it be that this person had become beautiful at the expense of her intelligence? Yun Chujiao then used her spiritual sense to look inside, then she sat on the ground and howled, "Woo! That damned black bead actually went into my dantian. Originally, it was the strange grass who was the dominant one. Then, it was the great void mirror and the strange grass who each occupied half the space. Now, another occupier has arrived. Fuck, they've established a tripartite." Chapter 848, Might be something amazing, what? The black bead also went into your dantian? Di Baiming finally reacted. Even if a weapon spirit was contracted to someone, its main body would not enter its master's body. However, the black bead just now directly went into little Jiao's forehead. That was not normal. Yun Chujiao sat on the ground and pursed her lips. She wiped away her tears and said, "That's right, that damned black bead was enjoying the thunder and lightning in my dandan. Woo woo, I originally planned to use the thunder and lightning to cultivate, but in the end, it was all absorbed by this damned black bead. This is my dantian, not a hotel. So many of them came in uninvited. This is infuriating." Di Baiming helped Yun Chujiao to a chair and comforted her. "Since it has acknowledged you as its master, it probably won't hurt you anymore. Wasn't the Great Void Mirror in the same situation in the beginning? Didn't it end up helping you out of certain situations?" Yun Chujiao recalled the situation with the Great Void Mirror. Damn it, if it wasn't for the strange grass, she might have been sucked dry as well. None of them were easy to deal with. However, although the strange grass and the Great Void Mirror were unreliable, they were still somewhat useful. This damn black bead was like a black glass ball. What use could it be? Other than sucking her blood and devouring her lightning, all it did was eat. Yun Shaotian stood at the side regretfully. If he had not insisted on letting little Jiao take care of the black bead, none of that would have happened. He was the one who had harmed little Jiao. Yun Chujiao was very shrewd. When she saw Yun Xiaoshen's expression, she was afraid that Yun Shaotian would get angry. She quickly said, "However, nothing can be said for sure. Perhaps this black bead will help me in the future. Since it was passed down from the Yun family's ancestors, it must be of some use. Grandfather, I took advantage of it by accident. Are you still angry with me?" Yun Shaotian was also a wise old man, so he naturally understood that Yun Chujiao said this because she was afraid that he would blame himself. He sighed. "Little Jiao, why would grandfather be angry with you? If grandfather didn't insist that you take care of the black bead, why would all these things happen? Grandfather has let you down." "Grandfather, what's the phrase?" "Yes, it's fated. This black bead is fated to be mine, so it will end up in my hands sooner or later. Besides, no matter how much of a bastard it is, it wouldn't dare to kill its master." Yun Chujiao said with a smile. It was as if the person who was crying earlier was not her. Yun Shaolan was about to say something when the light in the room started to dim as if it was suddenly cloudy. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that this black bead was really something important? Was that old bastard Tian Dao going to play his hand again? Yun Chujio walked to the door and took a look outside. Indeed, dark clouds were gathering in the distance. From the looks of it, there was a sizable amount of them. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Grandfather, I suddenly remembered something very, very important. I'm going back to the Spirit Radiance sect. I'll come back to see you in a few days. The people I brought back are my subordinates. They'll be staying in our Yun mansion for the time being. Please help them settle down. Seeing that Yun Chujio did not seem to be lying, Yun Shan hurriedly said, Then hurry up and go. Leave the matter of settling them to grandfather. You don't have to worry about it. Yun Chujio nodded. Prince Charming, call Brother Wuji. Well, return to the Spirit Radiance sect immediately. Di Baiming saw the gathering dark clouds and understood Yun Chujio's intentions. He asked Feng to go to the living room to inform Shui Wuji and his servant. The five of them then quickly left for Spirit Radiance City. Chapter 849. The New Wu Yun Force. Little Sister Jiao, are you alright? Why did old Master Yun call for Di Baiming just now? Although Shui Wuji acts recklessly, he was very respectful of Yun Xiaotian. If Yun Xiaotian did not call for him, he would not dare to enter the study room to find out what was happening. Yun Chujio paused for a moment. After thinking for a while, she said honestly, there was a black bead caught us off guard since it sucked my blood. I ended up taking it with me, so there's no big deal. However, from the looks of it, that old bastard Tian Dao seems to be looking for trouble, so I plan to find an empty space to avoid dragging the Yun mansion into this and turning it into ruins. Miss Jiao, Longping Mountain is about 300 li away from Spirit Radiance City. There aren't many people there, so why don't we go there? Feng suggested. Longping Mountain? Isn't that the place where the people who hired the League of Assassins to kill me said they would deliver the goods? Yun Chujio asked. Yes, that's the place. Back then, when I brought people there, I found that although the mountains were endless, there were very few demonic beasts. No cultivators passed by there. Even if there was a big commotion there, no innocent people would be hurt, Feng answered. Okay, let's go there. 300 li might be a long distance for ordinary people, but it was only an hour's journey for cultivators. The five of them sped up and rushed toward Longping Mountain. Behind the five of them, a large patch of dark clouds tailed them closely. It was different from the dark clouds when Yun Chujio first advanced some time ago. This time, the dark clouds were full of momentum, and it seemed like they stopped at nothing until they killed Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. Could it be that those old dark clouds were all taken care of by her? So where did that old bastard Tian Dao get this new Wu Yun force? Even if another group comes along, he'll take care of them. I'm not the Thunder Sect's master for nothing. An hour later, the five of them arrived at Longping Mountain. It was just as Feng had said. Although the mountains here were undulating and there were many spiritual plants, there were very few demonic beasts, let alone humans. Yun Chujio nodded. This place was quite suitable. Even if there were fighting here for a few hours, no innocents would be harmed. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, stay away from me so that I won't accidentally hurt you. This time, I think that old bastard Tian Dao is serious about coming after me. Yun Chujio said to Di Baiming and Shui Wuji as she looked up at the thick clouds. Di Baiming and Shui Wuji gave Yun Chujio a few instructions. Feng and Secret Agent Hua Hua retreated a few thousand feet away. They did not have Yun Chujio's abnormal talent, so it was safer to stay away. Yun Chujio wrapped her hair with a handkerchief to prevent herself from being struck bald again. Then she said to the three occupiers in her danon, Strange grass, little mirror, glass ball. The three of you should contribute something. If I don't make it out alive, none of you will either. The three squatters in her dantian looked at each other. Each of their names was weirder than the other. Their host's naming skills were terrible to the extreme. The three trembled in response to Yun Chujio's words. Yun Chujio thought to herself, that glass ball agreed so readily. I wonder if it will be helpful later? Master, I haven't absorbed the power of lightning for a long time. Let me out. It'll help you absorb a few bolts, little blackbird said with his spiritual sense. Yun Chujio thought for a moment. It was true that little blackbird had not come out for a long time and was struck by lightning. It was time to let it enjoy itself for a bit. The flaming three-tailed fox king looked at little blackbird with a dumbfounded expression. Boss, can you still absorb lightning? Little blackbird had a smug look as he replied, although I can't compare to our abnormal master, I can still absorb dozens of heavenly lightning bolts. Chapter 850. Am not full yet the flaming three-tailed fox king said obsequiously, Boss is indeed mighty. Ever since little blackbird helped the flaming three-tailed fox king take care of Lu Lianxin, who wanted to skin it, the flaming three-tailed fox king had wholeheartedly become little blackbird's lackey. Little blackbird spoke in human language. The illusionary electric eel, who had been minding its own business in the corner, finally understood and came to a realization. Holy shit! No wonder that little devil was not afraid of its electric current. It turned out that that little devil master was not even afraid of thunder. Her spiritual pet, that ugly fire-breathing crow, was not afraid of lightning either? Oh God, it had made the best decision in its life at that time. Otherwise, it would have been killed by that fierce little devil. After Yun Chujio released little blackbird, the two leisurely gnawed on some spirit fruit and waited for the show to begin. The Wu Yun in the sky was still new. They felt that Tian Dao was simply making a big fuss over nothing. Did he need so many clouds to go after such a little girl? A few bolts of heavenly lightning could turn this little girl into ashes. At first, when they saw Yun Chujio riding on the flying spiritual device and running away, they thought that she was trying to escape. They could not help but sneer. Trying to escape? If they wanted to strike someone down, even if you hid underground, they would hunt you to death. Later, when they saw Yun Chujio had landed on Longping Mountain, they thought that this little girl must have accepted her fate. Since she couldn't escape anyway, she was prepared to be struck to death. Who would have thought that she would take out an ugly bird from her spirit beast bag? What did that mean? She wanted both master and pet to die together? Why did she start eating fruits? Could it be that she wanted to die with a belly full of food? However, why did that little girl look so comfortable? It was as if she was here on vacation. She was too carefree. Strike her. Boom. A bolt of heavenly lightning struck straight at Yun Chujio. The Wu Yun felt that this bolt of heavenly lightning would at least strike the little girl on the ground and leave her half dead. However, after the bolt struck her, it saw that the little girl continued to chew on the fruit in her hand as if nothing had happened. On the contrary, the ugly bird next to it shouted, Hey! If you have the ability to strike me, please let me have it. I've been itching for a workout for a long time. Damn it. You, a weak little bird, actually dared to provoke them. Strike it. Boom. A bolt of lightning flew towards little blackbird. Little blackbird could not wait to swallow the bolt of lightning into its stomach. Then, it said arrogantly, Just one bolt? Why are you so stingy? Can't you just give me a few more? With how slow these bolts are, when will I be able to eat my fill? Wu Yun was furious. Boom, boom, boom. 3 bolts of heavenly lightning struck little blackbird. Little blackbird swallowed all 3 bolts of heavenly lightning into its stomach. Then, he put his short wings on his waist and said, Hey, can you try a little harder? This is the first time I've seen such stingy heavenly lightning. Would it kill you to fire a few more bolts? And Feng, who was far away, touched his nose. Damn, this bird was similar to its master. This little blackbird was just like the 9th Mississippi. As expected, the Wu Yun in the sky flew into a rage. More than 10 bolts of lightning flew toward the little blackbird at the same time. Little blackbird flapped its short wings with glee. It was afraid that some would be wasted, so it happily swallowed all of them into its stomach. I'm finally half full. Come again. I'm not full yet. Little blackbird said proudly. The Wu Yun in the sky was dumbfounded. Damn, where did this weird bird come from? Why could it devour lightning? I've never heard of such a weird bird. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.